I know the anti-natalists are upset, right? They saw my video on surrogate refuses an abortion, pro-lifer suddenly get bodily autonomy. Now, here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing that I think people are missing. Anti-natalists decided to make it about them. Somehow, you guys decided, you know what is a perfect conversation to insert myself into? Conversation about abortion and surrogacy when we're talking about this fascist regime taking our bodily autonomy away, right? Like, perfect time for the anti-natalists to be like, actually, nobody should have babies. You got, okay, listen, if you're making anti-natalist content to talk about these topics, love that for you. So valid. To come into my chat though, to feel entitled to my time, my audience's time, to distract us from this is exactly what Therese was talking about in her recent video today. I know some of you already saw it, but Therese said, you guys, I can't believe even her audience is falling for the distraction these pro-lifers are throwing at us. How easily they distracted you. They put a little light in the distance and you were like, okay, how easily you got distracted. And I'm not saying that you, if you're an anti-natalist on your own channel, on your own TikTok, want to have these conversations, great. But to come into spaces that are fighting for women's rights, for people who get pregnant, for bodily autonomy, and to make it about nobody should have babies in a world where most people are happy they exist, what a ridiculous sentiment. You know, what a ridiculous, look at me, this is all about me. Now, to be fair, it's very human to do that, right? It's very human to say, but what about me? What about my problems? I hear you. So look, I got a lot of anti-natalists in the chat, but these ones in particular, right? Obviously, never commented on my shit before for the most part, because I can see their comment history like we all can on the phone, right? It shows you, okay? But there's like, hey, Brittany, I'd love to see you have a real conversation with a philosophical anti-natalist, right? But they're like, oh, Brittany's never going to do that, right? Brittany, to interact with something that doesn't reinforce her beliefs, she has the ultimate right answers of life, and she even pretends she doesn't, blah, 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 blah. And this person's like she ever would. Brittany is incapable of having real dialogue without getting triggered, just like she was at the end of stream. Okay, can we go back to this alleged trigger at the end of my stream? Okay, this was my end of stream yesterday. Mind you that they're using triggered and saying I won't debate them as a way to literally get me to debate them. This is a debate bro tactic. This is a boy tactic, okay? Just a reminder of how that stream ended yesterday. After 2 hours of discussing this horrible case. It's more than okay for people to get an abortion. You're not a bad person for getting an abortion, okay? It happens. It's life. You know what I mean? So the fact that she is pro-life, the fact that she has now decided that she's going to use this opportunity to take away abortion options from people, period, that's crazy.
What does the next few weeks and months look like for you, McKenna?
Exactly, chat. Like, being a surrogate isn't optional. You don't have to do it. If you're doing survival surrogacy work, it's exactly why it shouldn't be legal, right? Or it shouldn't be not legal, but encouraged, right? Like, I don't believe in survival sex work as a goal. Like, no one should be survival sex working. But if you're a privileged sex worker, go for it. If you're a privileged person having a surrogacy and it's really like a part of your joy, do it. But survival surrogacy, absolutely not. Okay, and don't say, well, Brittany, aren't I doing survival McDonald's work? No, don't make me. Okay, so obviously this is humor. I know, like, I'm autistic and maybe my delivery sounds more serious, but this is obviously a joke. This is a meme. This is like the leave her alone joke. This is like, leave her alone. And also, this is just like a joke people do. They like pretend they're going to fight you. It's a joke. Okay, so that was the beginning of, I think, the trigger for people in the comments to be like, Brittany's triggered. Brittany's trying to be funny. I'm sorry, I'm not a comedian. Even though I think in another life I really should have been. Okay, this is a joke. And if you would like, I can stop joking, but girl knows I'm funny. So I'm over there, bro. Not gonna happen. Okay, all of us must labor for society. All of us must labor for community, not society like a Republican. Community like a village. Okay, everybody. See, she's funny. She gets it. She sees exactly what you're about to say to her. She already knows you're about to be in my chat like, oh, we should labor for society. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. See, I'm already catching myself because I already know what you're about to say. You must labor. It doesn't mean necessarily getting a W-2, but everybody must show up for the community. See. And then I already got the leftists. I already know the leftists are going to be like, oh my God, Brittany thinks everyone should have to make money. No, I already know that's not true. Okay, I'm already catching it. I already know what you're all about to say. I'm always fighting ghosts in my chat. Okay, are we a collective or not, girlies? Are we the collective or not? Open with boundaries though. Okay. And in this moment, she said she was trying to give a family a baby, trying to do this amazing thing, trying to da-da-da-da. You see how we have all the data we're collecting before we come to a consensus, before we come to a conclusion? But then boom. Okay. So again, right? Hey, to the anti-natalists in my chat, Habibi, take your ass to therapy. Anti-natalism is the biggest, most oppressive cope I've ever heard in my life. You selfish motherfucker. Like, think about how selfish you... Motherfucker is for emphasis, but if you would like me to get these snakes off these planes, I gotta use some emphasis. If you would not like me to get these snakes off this plane, I won't use the emphasis or emphasis, depending on how you say it. Okay, that's also a joke. See how I made another joke in a joke? I made two jokes. I made a joke and a joke and a joke. You have to be to support anti-natalism and call yourself good. Who is this the benefit for except you and your childhood self you never healed? With peace and love, I'm already pissed off enough. You want to talk about taking away people's right to agency? Anti-natalism is another argument to take away people's right to babies. You're taking away people's right to do what they want with the most natural part of being a human being, getting pregnant. With peace and fucking love. 40% of pregnancies aren't even planned. And yes, is that irresponsible? 100%. But the fact that you don't know anti-natalism is the other half of pro-life. It is the other side of the argument. Pro-lifers, force birthing. Anti-natalists, denying birthing. Lock the fucking kids, take your depressive ass to therapy, and get it fucking figured out. Jesus Christ. Most people are excited they live. Most people are happy to be here. You don't get to decide because you don't like it, then nobody else should like it. Most babies literally vibe with the fact that they exist. Get over it. Go to therapy.
Taking it easy.
Now, hold on here, girls. Let's scroll. Let's scroll, girlies. Okay, let's scroll. Scroll, 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 scroll. Okay. This says the pro-life side says children have to be born no matter the lack of consent of the mother, let alone the child. They are not the same thing. Notice how there are no anti-natalists protesting women's clinics and pregnancy wards. Yet you're in my chat annoying everybody. This one says anti-natalists say that children shouldn't be conceived born because parents lack their consent. Whereas the pro-life side says children have to be born despite any lack of consent of the mother, let alone the child. First of all, I'm pretty sure this is all the same person with different usernames. That's one. Okay, because you all are saying the same thing. Two, if you are saying the same thing because you believe in a philosophy, which means a construct you've created with rules and regulations, it means that there is a reason you're an anti-natalist, which means you're not just a person who's not having a baby personally, you're making somewhat of a prescription and or engaging with a philosophical framework that you are identifying with, right? So the reason the anti-natalist is the other side of the pro-life movement is you're coming to a generalized consensus about 8 billion people on the planet without thinking about any of them. You are actually not thinking about anyone's consent here because you're just thinking about your own personal relationship with abortion makes me queasy and having a baby makes me nervous. Like, cool, you're nervous about bringing a person into existence that can't consent. Cool, sounds like a you problem. Oh, abortion makes my feelings hurt, so I don't want you to have them. Cool, sounds like a you problem, right? You don't get to decide what people do with their bodies, and you don't get to decide if people have babies. That's no one's fucking business, not the government's business and not yours. You can have the opinion, but then why aren't you just a person who chose not to have a child themselves? Why are you identifying with a label? Why is it not a part of your ethical framework? And why are you in my chat bothering me? If it's just an opinion, then keep your opinion to yourself. This is not an anti-natalist space. This is not a pro-natalist space, okay? We are neither pro-natalist or anti-natalist. So again, when you sit there and you go, oh, Brittany would never debate an anti-natalist, you are saying Brittany is wrong because Brittany thinks she's always right because Brittany disagrees with me. I'm saying, girlie, we don't agree on the premise. I know what anti-natalism is. I've read enough. I've watched enough videos. Hell, we've done it here on stream. We get it. I disagree. So you're wrong because I disagree with you. You're wrong subjectively based off my opinion. And you think I'm wrong based off your opinion. Cool. Go watch somebody else. You know what I mean? Go watch somebody else. Like, why are you even in my chat? Because you're trying to convince me of something. Okay, why are you trying to convince me to be an anti-natalist? Oh, Brittany, I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. Then why are you opening your mouth? When we're talking about bodily autonomy, abortion, and surrogacy, why are you giving your opinion during this conversation? Do you just want to be seen? Do you just want to be heard? Or you're just like, oh, this is an opportunity to talk about me? Like, you have to understand, I'm at work singular, and I've got hundreds of people, multiples, coming at me with their opinions. And I have to pick and choose who to engage with, who's good faith, who's bad faith, who's serious, who's not serious. And then the audacity of some of you to use pro-life argumentation in your rebuttals to me, then go, that's not even a pro-life argumentation. I can see your history on my channel. So I can see your comment sections are also telling me that bitch isn't a slur and that like, oh, you're too woke and oh, you're too sensitive. Don't you guys understand that I am so good at my job that I deal with people like this on a daily basis that eventually there's nothing unique about your perspective. There's nothing unique about my perspective. You probably know who I am pretty easily by the way that I talk because there's no original thought. You're sitting here thinking you're giving me an original thought. Like I haven't debated anti-natalists or talked to them or reviewed them or talked to pro-lifers or talked to conservatives my whole life. Like you guys act like I just popped into existence because you did. You know what I mean? with peace and love. And by you guys, I mean people who've never watched me, who all of a sudden found my video because they were obsessed with this topic and just wanted to be heard. Listen, as a YouTuber, I understand all engagement with my videos pays my bill, so I'll take it. I also understand, right, that like when you are obsessed with a topic, you don't care about me. Brittany Simon doesn't even exist for you. You are just seeing a topic that relates to your ethics and you're like, I'm going to talk about this in her comment section. You don't know me. You don't really understand me. You don't really understand what I'm doing here, right? I get it. No hard feelings. Now let me look at this really fast because let me show you. So, okay, this commenter who's tried to watch a few of my videos but seems to really misunderstand my work. That's okay. Said, I usually enjoy your content, but recently I don't like the way you sometimes talk to your chat. To me, it feels like there's no room for respectful disagreement. You just get louder and louder and start insulting people as stupid, although you know this term is ableist. It gives superiority, aggression, arrogance, and very different standards for respectful communication for you and your audience. They went on to say, but the bio parents wanted to abort. They did not want the disabled baby. They only want it now. See how you're making a pro-life argument in my chat while telling me you don't like the way I talk to my audience? Well, you're out here making a pro-life argument to take away parental rights because they wanted an abortion. Hi, hello, psycho. Chat says, okay, I am sorry. I can't wait. This girl says, or boy, or whatever, says, or they, I am so sorry. I can't watch till the end. Your take on the issue. She has a plan. She would only be a good person if she agreed with the couple is so off. No. Hello. You can't even hear yourselves talk, but I do this for a living. I listen to you all day. I listen to your arguments all day, bro. Literally. Why is Brittany acting so aggressive when we're talking about taking away women's rights? Literally half the population is facing subjugation under fascism. But also, like, these parents don't get their baby anymore because they wanted to have an abortion. Hello? That's what I'm saying. Don't fucking, okay, I'm smarter than you. That's another joke. But listen, I am kind of smarter than you in this instance. This person who's just trolling the fuck out of my chat goes, this is how Brittany always communicates. And she's incapable of reflecting on this and acting any differently. Anytime she's called out for it, she just doubles down and says, we are the ones who are wrong. She loves to say all the time she isn't making prescriptions while making really, really strong statements online about things in her world life. And she thinks that she thinks are good and she thinks are bad. Yet, she thinks that she never makes prescriptions. She's intellectually dishonest and likes to hide behind being leftist to deflect criticism because she will just call you a conservative if you disagree. Her anti-natalist rant at the end of the stream is just the epitome of the mentality she applies to everyone. It seems like if you disagree with her, you must not have deconstructed enough, done enough therapy, because you would just be on her level and think exactly like her if you were deconstructing. I will probably be banned even for saying this. It's like I'm back in Destiny's community with the ban hammer. Okay, right? What am I supposed to do with this? The reason I have to ban some of you is because what am I supposed to do with this bad faith? You're being so bad faith and you know it. Look at this comment. Look at this crazy ass parrot. Look at this. Look at this. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? Look at this block of fucking weird ass text. Like, girly, like, what are we doing, bro? You know what I'm saying? So again, like, what are you even ranting about my comment section? And also, this is just my example of whether these are bots or real people, probably real people, right? This is what I'm saying about people. That they want all of the attention, but none of the actual pushback. I'm giving you pushback right now. I am saying exactly what I'm saying. You cannot sit here and tell me, I don't really like the way Brittany handled this topic, when you literally, the next comment you make is that these parents no longer get rights to their child because they wanted an abortion, right? Now, this was something I saw multiple times in my chat too. Let me see if I can find the other comment. Well, this one, first of all, this person here says, I'm the only one who said my body, my choice, or my child, my choice. Why would you answer with a hypothetical scenario I never mentioned? I said it was my fetus, my choice. Okay, right? And then they go on to say, you can't force her to have an abortion. And this person replied, you smart. There's a huge difference between an adult woman signing a contract and agreeing to the terms and a fucking child that can't consent to sex. Are you okay? Brittany even acknowledged that the state shouldn't be able to force her to have an abortion, right? The argument is that the surrogate's behavior is unethical. Like, you guys don't know the fucking difference. I already said it multiple times in that video. The state can't force her to have an abortion. Nobody's forcing her to have an abortion. And Therese even covered this in her video. The parents did not force her to have an abortion. There was no force. They were happy to pay medical bills. They were there. The woman decided to kidnap this fetus, take it across state lines. And you know what I'm saying? Like, you guys aren't listening, okay? Let's see. And then I saw, let me see where it is. There was this person who was making that other argument. I don't know where it is. Hello? Where it was like, It was like if she wanted to terminate the baby. This one, here it is. It says, in my book, that means if they wanted to terminate the pregnancy, they're terminating the parental rights. That is a pro-life argument. A pro-life argument. There used to be this pro-life argument that used to circle around pro-life spaces, conservative spaces, that was like, well, if women can get abortions, then men should be able to remove themselves from the responsibility of being a parent if women can. That's not what an abortion is. Having an abortion is not removing the responsibility of being a parent. It's just as responsible as a parent to have an abortion as it is to bring a baby into existence. Like, you are not less of a parent because you have an abortion in that sense, right? You are making a decision about a future child, a future person. Okay. Second, when you talk about like, oh, if they want an abortion, they don't have parental rights. So how does that exactly work legally? So just explain that to me. So the government says if you come in for a clinical visit to your doctor and request an abortion, boom, now they have control over that fetus and that baby. And what? Are they going to keep you in prison for 9 months until you give birth? Like, what is the end result of your argumentation? And that's what I'm saying. You're not even thinking, well, coming into a philosophy channel with a girl who's read more books than you, who's discussed and debated this her whole life, to sit here and say, Brittany's just not considering people's opinions. Brittany knows the end result of all these arguments because she literally does it every day, all day. This is my special interest. So yes, am I desperate to find YouTubers to collaborate with who are fucking serious for once in their life about debating ethics? I would love that. Do I ever find them? Hell no. Because they don't exist. You guys are so not serious about your ethical debates. You don't actually care about ethics. You just want views and you just want to win. You just want to feel good. Like, we are talking about real people. We're talking about impacting billions of people, and you're so casually out here debating, abortion rights or pro-choice rights because you just think it's a fun debate topic. You just want to get famous on TikTok. Like, this is serious, So forgive me for being a little tongue-in-cheek, when we're fighting a fascist regime, and you're sitting here in my comments like, Brittany's never considered this topic. She's literally heard 1,000 times in her life. It feels like with peace and love, listen, okay, respectfully. If I knew how old you were, if I knew where you were coming from, if I could see you and ask you and individually talk to you, that'd be different. But are you asking me to do that for every commenter? Are you asking me, singular person, to treat every single comment like an individual that I have to learn their background and where they're from and their education level and how to talk to them and the nuances of their life? Or are you talking to a streamer who can't see you, can't smell you, can't understand you, who has very limited understanding and is treating your argumentation as the focus of the debate? Because I can't actually do that. Okay, so when we have these conversations, it's like, please be serious. Please be serious. Okay. Now, let's watch the second half of Therese's new video. The first half is just basically the rundown that we know. The second half is really important here. It's so important.
Baby's delivery, and
this is about the surrogate story, right? She came online just to tell us, hello, don't fall for this propaganda.
For their baby's medical care in California, where they live. West then allegedly cut off all contact with them and fled to Texas with the help from these anti-abortion groups that funded her travel. Interesting. Issue number 4, the lawyer's agenda. West is being represented by ADF, the Alliance Defending Freedom. McKenna West's attorney is a guy named Eric Baptiste. And here's one of the details that tells you that this was never about surrogacy. Eric Baptiste, her lawyer, is the director of ADF's Center for Life.
Ooh.
This is the largest and most powerful conservative legal organization in the country. And he is the abortion department head, not a surrogacy lawyer, an abortion lawyer. More specifically, an anti-abortion lawyer, deployed on a surrogacy case. Look at their own press release. The ADF, they say that they're fighting to give baby Gabriel the chance at the life he deserves. From their own press release, quote, Alliance Defending Freedom attorneys represent McKenna West, an Alaska nurse and surrogate mother who fought to give the baby she carried, known as baby Gabriel, even though the parents didn't give her that name, the chance at the life he deserves, since the commissioning couple has refused to commit to life-saving treatment. Except they didn't. The parents never intended to deny their child medical care. They made that up. And the quote, read it slowly. No woman should be forced to kill the baby she is carrying. Forced. In every other ADF abortion case, they argue that a woman can be forced to carry a pregnancy against her will. Here, though, the woman wanted to carry the pregnancy, so suddenly force is the enemy. They're borrowing the language of bodily autonomy, but only when it results in a birth. Here's what they're actually doing. Surrogacy is the one place in American law where a woman's signature, her consent, Her signature in a contract can be tested against fetal life. If ADF can establish that once conception happens, the fetus's interests override the woman's,
Hello, lock in,
even when
girls.
she signed a contract agreeing otherwise, then a woman's consent is worthless the moment she gets pregnant. Do you understand the precedent that that builds? It's not about surrogacy. It never was. It is and always was about fetal personhood. And personhood is their endgame. The movement's own stated goal is a federal abortion ban built on the idea that an embryo is a person whose rights supersede those of the woman carrying it. This case is the on-ramp. And the surrogacy debate that you all insist on having, that's the off-ramp that they want you to get on. That's the distraction. Issue 5, the comment section. My own comment section is the proof that this strategy works. I posted about this story yesterday in a YouTube short, and immediately, the conversation turned to whether surrogacy itself is ethical. I got comments like, people shouldn't be able to rent women's wombs, and surrogacy is reproductive exploitation. Smart, likely progressive women in my comment section, the middle-aged feminist negress. Y'all are arguing about the ethics of a business transaction. I understand the impulse, but so does the forced birth crowd. Surrogacy raises genuinely hard questions about exploitation and consent and who gets to purchase a pregnancy. Those concerns are very real, but here's the thing that you're missing. The anti-surrogacy position is exactly the framing that the pro-life movement wants secular women to adopt. This movement has spent years arguing that surrogacy commodifies women and the unborn. That is Live Action's position. Now, my own supposedly feminist audience is repeating a version of that. With genuine conviction, sure, but repeating it nonetheless. This is the Trojan horse in real time. I haven't seen the Odyssey yet, but I did read the story in high school, and trust me, it won't be long before the Greek army in the form of a national abortion ban pops out of that damn horse. They don't need you to agree with them. They just need you arguing about surrogacy instead of fetal personhood. When you're arguing in my comments section about whether or not renting a womb is ethical, ADF is building the legal precedent that once a fetus exists, a woman's consent means nothing. And that precedent will not be confined to surrogacy. It will reach every woman, every pregnancy, every body in the United States that is capable of becoming pregnant. So let me name the whole machine out loud. According to the surrogacy contract, her body is a deliverable. For the forced birthers, it's a symbol. For the state, it's just about jurisdiction. And for the lawyers, it's a chance at establishing a precedent. 4 different groups, 4 different vocabularies, one shared belief. The belief that McKenna West's body does not belong to her. The pro-life movement will treat one woman as a person temporarily so that they can later deny personhood to all women. Don't fall for it. Thanks for watching. See you next.
Oh, she killed it this morning, girl. Therese, here we go. I'm going to put her channel if you don't know her work. We've watched her many times on stream. Live stream chat. Put that in the Discord as well. Exactly. Lock in, girls. Lock in. Okay, I know you think I'm just out here, you know, sharing my opinions and having fun and tee-hee, but seriously, in my time, my short time under 37 years, I have seen and had every conversation under the sun that you can think of. And yes, every time I have it, I learn something new. But what I really learn is how much we don't know. Like, we don't know, we don't learn, we repeat cycles. It's a mess out here. And I'm just trying to explain to you, like, these people study, they put billions of dollars into understanding your psychology to manipulate you into voting for things that aren't good, right? Eos, thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. It's just like, that's what I want you to remember, is that all of these people are trying to literally move the world in a direction that they think needs to be applied to 8 billion people, which is why I don't make prescriptions. So to that chatter in chat, I see you, right? You're the one who kept comparing me to Destiny, which is hilarious, right? You said, Brittany, if you're not making prescriptions, why do you share your opinions in public? Hi, this is my job. You're at my job. I'm at work. I'm at work. This is what I do for a living. I talk about philosophy and ethics. Hi, you're at my job. I'm not telling you what you ought to do, period. I'm saying if your goal is this, you should do this, okay? If a pro-lifer came to me and said, Brittany, I don't want to have an abortion, I'd say, okay, here are the things you could do to avoid having an abortion. I'm not making a prescription. I'm telling them how to live their life in accordance to their ethics. I give you tools to live your life in accordance to your ethics, or I discuss and debate my own ethics up against yours, okay? 2 different Brittany's. Are you asking me, Brittany, what my opinion is as an individual? Are you asking me, Brittany, what's your opinion in regards to debating this topic, or in regards to helping this person? Okay? I'm not making a prescription. Okay. Chat said, by talking about philosophy and ethics, you're inherently making prescriptions because you know that people in your chat look for your guidance for your work. That's not what making a prescription means in this context. Maybe you don't understand how words work. When people get online and they make prescriptions, they're saying you ought to do something. And I'm saying you only ought to do something if it makes sense within your framework. I'm not making the claim that you ought to live like Brittany Simon. I am not making this claim. I'm not making claim that Brittany Simon is the end all be all. I'm not making the claim that Brittany Simon's ethics are the best ethics. I'm not making the claim that you should live like me. I am not making that claim. I am doing my job, and you can do with it what you will. Yes, I have influence. That is true. We all do. But I'm not making a prescription because I'm influential. Just because people will be influenced doesn't mean I'm making a prescription. Okay? You said if you have a big enough following, no matter what you say, you'll be taken as a prescription. Yeah, but that's the point of my channel, is to show you how your own brain works. That's not on me. That's on you. That's on all of us to understand how our brain works. To say, oh man, I am susceptible to people. I really admire this person. And yeah, I noticed I started picking up their own belief systems to my own. But is this my belief system? Be introspective and ask yourself, do I think this is true? Or do I only think this is true because Brittany Simon said it? Yeah, be introspective. That's my goal, is to give you the tool to question, do I actually believe this, or do I just believe it because my parents said it, because my culture said it, because my religion said it, right? So you can, again, be in my chat. I've already, by the way, you know why this question is, I get this question every week, by the way. No new thoughts, no original thoughts. I get this question every week. My regular chat knows. There's always somebody in the chat who says, Brittany Simon's making a prescription. Okay, because again, you don't understand that I'm saying to you, I know your brain will hear it that way. Do you know that? And if you know that, imagine what a deeper relationship with your biological experience you could be having if you said to yourself, let me introspect on that. Do I think this? Or, why do I think this? Okay? So you need to really lock in and understand that I already know this. You're not telling me something I don't know. I know this. That's why I make my channel. I know this. This is why I chose to do this for my job, right? Because I realized, people are suffering under the weight of not knowing. And I was suffering under the weight of not knowing. So what can we do to know? What could we do with our lives? How could we spend our free time so we can have a deeper relationship with our biological experience? But go off, Okay, let's see. Chet says, I feel like this is what we all do every day. Well, which part? The introspecting, deconstructing, which one? Or the prescription making? Let's see. Brittany doesn't tell us what to do. You're being so bad faith. Let's see. If every opinion is a prescription, then we'd get nowhere. Yeah, that's like saying, hey, when Brittany says strawberries are her favorite fruit, she's saying everybody should like strawberries. I'm not saying that. When I say I don't eat bananas and I think bananas are disgusting, I'm not saying you shouldn't eat bananas, right? Like, again, just because I like nail polish doesn't mean you have to wear nail polish. Just because I'm plant-based doesn't mean you have to be plant-based. Like, there's not, what I'm saying? Like, you could do whatever. I'm not telling you not to be I'm not telling you. You do you, right? Jess is not engaging with the premise. You keep saying, oh, well, that's what I'm doing here. If that's what you're doing here, you wouldn't be sharing your opinion. You wouldn't be giving opinions and staying neutral. You would be just giving opinions and staying neutral. Okay, I'll try one more time with you. I could make content in which I never shared my personal opinion. That is very true. I don't enjoy that work because I feel like it denies my lived experience, which has informed my work. And I find that it is better to add in my personal experience, like Dr. Kirkonda, who's a therapist, who often uses his own personal life story to make his work more relatable, like Dr. K, who often uses his personal life story to make his work more understandable, like Vervaeke, who uses his personal life to make his work more, understandable. Like all human beings who are doing any sort of work, especially philosophers, to share how real life is being impacted by these beliefs. God forbid I actually give you evidence, right? Because if I don't share my life, then it's like, well, you've never been through anything and you don't even know anything, right? So again, you see how I'm engaging with you? You see how I'm trying? Do you give me any credit? Would you like to give me some social credit right now for actually engaging with you in good faith? Or no, am I just a bad faith person who's going to block you and is like Destiny? Right? Go ahead. I'm waiting for my social credit. Give me a gold star. Will you do that in my chat? Will you say, you know what, Brittany, you were right. Thank you for engaging with me in good faith and taking the time out of your day. Wow, that's so meaningful to me. Go ahead. Do you believe that? Or no? Do you think you're just enjoying the fact that you think like, oh, Brittany's triggered and I'm trolling her and this is so funny? Which is ironic because I'm not even, girl. You know I'm not even, right? Go ahead. I'll wait. Right? Let's see. Chat says, does this chatter think consumers have no responsibility in an attempt to interpret what they consume accurately and within the proper context. Well, again, it's always that macro versus micro thing, right? Okay. And that's the problem, right? Chat says, to be fair, Brittany, and please don't get mad. Why do you guys say this? Like, Brittany, please don't get mad. Girlie, I'm not your mother. Why do you say this? Why do you say, hey, to another? I'm a grown-up. You're a grown-up. Why would you say, please don't get mad at me? Girlie, I'm not mad at you. I don't know you. That's what I'm saying. Do you think me getting loud and passionate is anger? I'm not your mother. I'm not your mother. I can't get mad at you. When I say don't make me mad, it's a figure of speech. It's not real. It's not real, Habibi. Tonality, social context. Like, come on. You said, I didn't say don't get mad at me, mad in general. How do you not know the difference? This is what I'm saying. What are you doing? That's the same thing. You accuse a gamer boy of prescribing, and I remember back in the day that he said not to follow what he says, so I think it's easy to get confused. You're talking about Destiny Bonnell, the predator. You're talking about Destiny, who said, I never told people to live like I do, but he makes prescriptions in his work every day. He debates conservatives for a living and tells them they ought to be this way. Don't lecture me about my job when you're ignorant to the fact that he absolutely does make prescriptions. Destiny is a debate bro for a living. He made ethical prescriptions in all of his work. And then when I called him out for the inconsistencies with his private life and his public life, he was like, well, I don't tell people to live how I live. Oh, but you tell people to vote a certain way? You're telling people to show up at the ballots a certain way? He is making prescriptions. Okay? So again, when you have these conversations, you guys are not actually getting it. And I know from your position, you feel like I'm here every day. I watch the streams. I feel like I should get it. But listen to me when I say it. You're not getting it. If I was a teacher, you're not passing the class. With peace and love, you're repeating a grade. Okay? We can get you a tutor. We can get you some help. But there are obviously chatters in my chat who get it. I know it. And I put you in categories in my head. The chatters who have been here and get it, and the chatters who have got to repeat a grade. Okay? And then the chatters who are just here because they want attention. Okay? Chat, don't say this. I hope you're okay, Britt. This is stressful. It's not stressful. It's literally why I chose this job for a living. Yes, it is stressful in some ways, but tell me this. This is where I get my excitement for life comes from the fact that we can discuss these ideas, right? So yes, it is. And I'm being a little dramatic with the way that I am. But the truth is like, this is exciting. This is an opportunity for us to come to like an agreement, to figure it out, to like, find answers, but you guys have to understand how wrong you are and then to understand how passionate I am about this topic because it is my life's work. I know you don't understand that it's my life's work, but it's what I dedicate all of my free time to. When I get off stream, I'm reading, I'm paying attention, I'm listening to audiobooks, I'm researching, like I'm watching videos. Like this is what I consume my whole life with. When yesterday, when we finished stream, I went into an anti-natalist deep dive. I was like, okay, this is what I'm saying. Like, I know for you guys, you just see me for 3 hours on stream and you think like, oh, she didn't. But when stream is done, I just go right back into researching. Okay, now listen, I used to think maybe I should do like research streams so you could see me like reading and watching stuff. But that's not, I don't consume information as well. If I'm like, when I'm reading, I'm really reading. I'm like zoned out, I'm just like this. And so again, I think there's just like a misunderstanding of how important this topic is to me and how it is literally what I'm dedicating my life to. I don't know what you've dedicated your life to, but mine is philosophy. Mine is ethics. I know this with all of my being that my job is to discuss ethics in a very serious way to the point where my life changes because of it. How many of these boys got on the internet to discuss ethics and they haven't changed in 20 years? They're the same people just debating. I'm not debating for fun alone. That's fun. I am actually looking to change my whole life. And you've seen it. If you've been here long enough, you've literally seen me change in front of you. Who even was this girl 3 years ago? Who even was this girl 2 years ago? Right? Like, who even was she? She's unrecognizable. You almost can't even recognize her. Okay? And may this be the case every 3 to 6 months. May this be the case every year. May this be the case for the rest of my life. Think about it. Like, think about all the work that we do here together and give yourself some credit for being here in the first place. Because I know in your heart of hearts, it probably does hurt your feelings that I'm a little harsh with some of you. And I want you to understand, it's not you, the consciousness girly, I don't know you. It's the fact that your argumentation is one I've heard 1,000 fucking times in my life. And sometimes I do feel like you guys don't do your due diligence when I leave stream. Because why you ask me questions I answer every day? How are you here every day in my chat? I answer these questions every day. And then you ask me the same question. Like, what am I doing wrong? Like, are we not going and researching? Like, you know what I'm saying? And so you give me some leeway and understanding like, oh my God, this question again, Brittany just answered it 2 days ago. Brittany just answered it. Were you in chat when Brittany answered it? Didn't she just answer it 30 seconds ago? You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying, like, I can't tell if you guys are trolling me now sometimes. But obviously, I know that you're a real person. You have, you know, life and kids, and you're busy. You're probably listening to me while you're doing the dishes. You're probably half listening. But then take that into consideration. Take into consideration that you're half listening to me while doing the dishes, and I'm coming in 1,000% ready for the internet to tear me apart, clip me out of context, make TikToks about me, talk about me on Reddit, and I have to be so fucking serious when I come to work. And God forbid I make a little jokey joke on occasion. You know what I mean? So while you're half listening, I'm fully here. And then with your half listening, you're like, oh, hey, could you repeat this thing? And then you're like, well, Brittany thinks she's better than all of us. Brittany thinks she's on top. Brittany thinks she's the teacher. Well, you know, it feels like you guys aren't coming to class sometimes. Not okay, just like 2 or 3 or 5 of you. You know what I mean? Everybody, you know. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I'll scroll up. Okay. And chat says, let's see. They're afraid of getting blocked. Sorry, but that's what it is. I do appreciate that you engage with me in good faith, but that's why people say, please don't get mad. Yeah, but guys, who do I ever block? Why do you guys act like I just willy-nilly block people out here? Like, I'm not blocking people that are disrupting the space, that other chatters are upset with, the people who are throwing around slurs, people who are obviously conservative. Why are you playing like I'm blocking randos? When the chat itself is like, Brittany, please block this person. Like, the chat can tell this person is being disruptive. Why do you act like I'm just out here blocking anybody and their mother? Why do you act like I'm not a pro with knowing how to keep my community safe? You know what I'm saying? Why do you think you're entitled to my space if you're making it uncomfortable for everybody else? Are you going to take any accountability for the way you make everybody feel uncomfortable? Because that's what I look for when chat goes, Brittany, somebody in chat, when Discord goes, Brittany, look at the chatter. You are making people feel bad. So I have to sit there and be like, uh-oh, I got to block this person now. Because why are you disrupting the space? Okay? Thank you. Like, take some accountability in the fact that I'm like, I don't want to block you. I would love to never block anybody. But some of you really ruined the vibe for people. Sorry. Okay. Let's see. Chat says, let me see. Chat says, maybe it's a type of social anxiety. Like, people think they're going to step out of line automatically. Sure. And I get that. But it feels to me like if you're so afraid of getting blocked, you don't have to chat. Hear me out, bros. Hear me out. You don't have to fucking say shit. You know what I mean? You could just not say anything. If you're so afraid of getting blocked, don't say nothing. You don't have anything nice to say, don't say it. If you're so afraid of getting blocked, here's your anxiety at ease, don't say nothing. That's all you have to do. How am I going to block you if you don't tell us who you are? How am I going to block you unless you open your mouth? Why would I block you? Okay, just don't talk yet. Meditate on it. Give yourself a second. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, how am I going to block you unless you open your mouth? Right? Okay. Chat says, I feel like we've gone through 6-hour streams without blocking. Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. Chat says, even if you can't do research let me see. Even if you can't do research streams regularly, would you consider one stream or video where you should how you approach, sorry, I think the sentence is wrong. You should how you approach research. How I approach research. I don't know that it would be helpful. I think here's the problem. Sometimes my audience asks me to do something, but nobody even engages in it. I mean this respectfully. This is actually an issue with YouTubers, especially autistic YouTubers. We think you genuinely care. And if I give you resources, you'll use it, but you won't. In the same way that even my audience sometimes will be like, Brittany, here's 10 links to this thing you talked about today. And I was like, oh, I'm not gonna read all that. Because now I feel like my PDA is getting triggered because I'm not in that space right now. So I don't do extra work for people to the best of my ability unless I'm in the mood to do it. And so I don't know how me showing you how I research would help, but I feel like you should have learned it in school. Did we all I know everybody had a different school experience, but even when I was homeschooled, they taught you how to research. Did you guys learn? Okay, let me start there. Did you guys learn how to research in school? Did you guys learn how to get sources for your essays? Do you know how to do that? It's okay if you don't, but we should start there. Did you learn between 6th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, high school, college, how to look for research for your essays? And I know some of you are ChatGPTing over here, so you might not actually know. Okay, that's how I research, the same way I'd be researching for a research paper, the same way I did in community college when I had to research for research papers. I would research sources, read documents, go to government websites, go to educational websites, right? Look for who did this study and where did it come from and when did it get updated, right? Okay, so that's where I would recommend you go back to your roots. Like, guys, that's why the education system is trying to be, that's why we have to change it, because we have to give kids the skills to research. So when you guys get to adulthood, you don't ask a random YouTuber, how do you research? You already know because you were given that tool as a kid. I want you to remember that these tools as children is why we want to give better education to kids. So you guys know how to do it when you graduate high school. You know what I'm saying? And maybe I was just lucky that even though I was homeschooled and did community or high school for a couple years and then did a community college for a year, that I have enough under my belt. But you know what I mean? That's what I want you to remember is like the foundations of our child. This is why it's so important that we raise kids well, because they're going to become adults who are in my chat confused about how I got here because they didn't grow up with the same or any kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. I'm very empathetic to the fact that we didn't have the same. It's weird though, coming from a bubble where people say my education wasn't very good, but then why I know things you don't know. You know, they'll say, oh my God, Brittany, your education was so bad. Sometimes I can't believe things you don't know. But then literally, what are we doing here? So then I don't know. Am I like smart or am I stupid? Like, am I better research than everybody else or am I not? Like, I can't, it's confusing. Yeah. And shout out to libraries as a great source. I spent 10 years of my life straight up in libraries. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. 10 solid years. I lived and breathed libraries. I read every book. I just pulled books out. I went to the old, like the vintage aisle and pulled out all these archaic books. I like pulled out, I would just sit there in the library and read. I would just read the most random books. I would read about just everything, like conflict and wars and patriarchy and Egypt and like whatever was going on. I would just like pull it out and start reading. Okay. And I would, you know, that's what I'm saying. Like, I love TikTok, but TikTok is never going to be better than a library. But then you have to actually want to be there. You're going to have to learn how you research. You could do audiobooks. You can do, I'm trying to think of different ways to get you read, but you know, so again, we have to remember that I don't know where you're coming from. I don't know if you know where I'm coming from, but okay. Right. Okay. Let me scroll up because I feel like that chatter responded and I didn't see it, or maybe I ignored it. Hold on. Chat says, let me see. Let me do this. Give me a second. Channel activity. Let me look at your comments. You said, okay, if being your work means nothing, you still make prescriptions by voicing your opinion online, blah, blah, blah. If you have a big enough following, no matter what you say, blah, not engaging with the premise, you keep saying, oh, well, that's not what I'm doing here, blah. Besides that, I know if somebody introspected so hard that they came to the conclusion on something that you disagreed with, you would think they probably hadn't introspected enough. Not true. Literally not true. Right? Nope, because it's all around a moral issue. Do I ever care if somebody's sharing their opinion while pretending that they aren't giving prescriptions saying strawberries are not equivalent? They're literally equivalent. Fair. That's fair. I have no more. I have no more. I understand now. No, I am giving you all the credit. Thank you for engaging with me in good faith. I really appreciate it. They are afraid of getting blocked. Sorry. Okay. Let's see. Again, Brittany, I do appreciate that you engaged with me in good faith. I wasn't being a troll, or at least I wasn't trying to be. I just misread your tone. I didn't understand your why. Well, I mean, I appreciate that, you know, but that's the problem is like, you know, you're going off of, you're seeing my face. You're hearing my tone. You're actually seeing me on a daily basis. I don't even get that much information from you, right? And I have to do so much extra like brain power labor to decipher your text, to decipher the tonality, to try to understand what's happening. You're at least seeing me. I feel like, is this not enough information for you? You know, is this facial expression disturbing to you guys? Like I'm just giving attitude. I'm just giving I'm just trying to put emphasis on the absurdity of the situation that we are in right now. You are getting all of this feedback about how to discern and come to a conclusion about my opinions. I'm going off of one sentence and a comment section, and I'm mostly right because you guys eventually realize like, oh shit, I misunderstood her. Yeah, no shit. Or two, oh, I didn't know she was coming from that perspective. I know. But that's what I'm saying. Okay. Jess said, I think we're all too autistic to function. I mean, hey-o, you know? Discourse said, I personally hate the words smart and stupid. I use the words knowledgeable and ignorant. And then there is wise when it comes to life or dealing with other humans. And I prefer different words at different times too. But I think like this is the dilemma with all communication is eventually I either have to, and I'm debating this. I'm debating what position to take. What is my role in this community? Or what is my role in the world? Am I going to start acting like I am your mother? Like, should I actually start acting like a teacher? Because you must understand, like for me to do this, I have to be, there's a hierarchy there that I'm not really interested in engaging with. You know, but if that's the case, then that would mean that I would then use language that doesn't relate to you. Because the reality is, most of us, people literally tell me, Brittany, your words are too big. Brittany, the words you're using don't make sense to me. Brittany, I don't know the context of this. And I'm like, okay, so I'll use better, more typical words. But then when I use typical words, people are like, hey, that really hurts my feelings. And I'm like, it sounds like you're going to get, I don't know what to do here. Okay. You know what I mean? It's like, I get what you're saying, but I also don't know what you, so then I have to go, okay, don't listen to the audience. The audience doesn't know what they want. The audience is confused and they are looking for some understanding of what's happening in this space. We're here to talk about philosophy. We're here to talk about ethics, right? Okay, that's what we're here for. We're here to talk about ethics and philosophy, and I'm giving you tools to take to your real life. I don't know what you're gonna do with those tools. I don't really care. It's not my business, but you make a decision. When we talk about politics, we're talking in a different context. When we're talking about personal ethics, we're talking about different contexts. Like, again, I have friends who generally are all liberal or leftist, of course, right? We don't all live the same lives. We have all very different fucking lives, okay? I don't sit there and look at my friends and say, you ought to be like Brittany. You ought to be exactly like her. You have to do exactly what Brittany would do. I don't do that. Do I give my opinions when they ask? Yeah. Do I share like what I would do if they ask me? Sure. But I don't look at my friends and say, oh, I don't like the way you're doing that. You should do it this way. Like, and if you don't, it's because you're not deconstructed. Like, I would never, why would I say that? Now, would I say it to my conservative family? Yes, I would. Because they are literally factually not deconstructed. Like, that's literally a fact. I wouldn't say it to my leftist friends or my liberal friends that are working on shit. It's mostly to people who are doubling down on these ideas. They're like, oh, Brittany thinks I'm not deconstructed because I believe in a patriarchal God. Ugh. You know what I'm saying? What am I supposed to do with that? Okay? Right? And look, these are mostly like chat says, I don't think you should change your approach. The right audience is already finding you alongside the trolls. Look, it is my moral obligation to make sure the way that I'm presenting is correct. It is a part of my ethical obligation. On top of that, it's not like I can change my personality overnight. So I'm not about to get over here Nara Smith style and be like, guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the channel. Have you heard of Socrates? Socrates died. He was put to death. He owed his neighbor a chicken. Have you heard of Plato? Have you heard of Ayn Rand? Objectivity. You know, I'm not about to ASMR this shit. You know what I mean? Like, my personality is going to be the same. The question is do I use the language that is my language? Do I use the language that is like more academic? Because look, obviously I don't have a board that I have to report to, right? I don't have like a church I have to report to. So I have to make a decision. Do I talk like myself? Do I talk with a specific audience in mind? And look, I'm not asking you this question. This is for me to figure out, not for you to figure out. You're the audience. My job is to figure out how do I want to show up. You know what I mean? Okay, that's my job. Okay. Chad said the girl, that was funny. I'd eat up those reels. Listen, move over, Trisha Paytas. I'm about to ASMR you out of a job. Okay. Right? So I'm not asking you, but I do think we have a moral obligation as elders in the community to double check how we're showing up. And that means at get-togethers, in our homes, at our family gatherings, like at the store, in public, on stream, right? Like, I do take it seriously that I am 37, that I'm, you know, I want to be an elder in the community. If I heard certain women on the internet say common sense one more time, I might kill myself, right? So like, I certainly don't want to be a girl who's getting on stream using words like common sense that aren't common sense, right? Because like, it boggles my mind that liberal women keep saying common sense. Like, this isn't a co-opted term by conservatives. And look, the other day, somebody in my chat, girls, here's food for thought. If you tell me, Brittany, don't speak that way because of this, I'm not going to listen to you because you're not actually telling me why. But if you say, Brittany, the conservatives are using it as a dog whistle, I'm locked in. I'm locked the fuck in. I'm changing my language tomorrow. But if you say, don't use this language because I have an opinion, this is not going to do anything for my brain. Because why? So what, language is subjective. What do you want me to do with this? But if you're like, hey, it really hurts people's feelings, I'm like, oh, I'll consider it. Or if you're like, hey, Republicans are using it, I'm locked the fuck in, right? That's why we've been having that conversation about the word stupid, because even though stupid is colloquially very, very used, it is what most people understand as in a context, right? If we're trying to use better language, we can. But if I'm trying to communicate to people, how do you not leave people behind? Because if I use language they don't understand, they're going to feel stupid. Right? Okay? And so when we, when we have these conversations, again, I am not asking you input on how to do my job. I do this full time. I'm telling you, I'm trying to be a mirror for you. Right now, do you understand? You are putting me in this position. You have now put me in this position. And I have to, because you are the force I am in contrast with, I have to go, people are putting me in this position. What do I do? And so now I have to decide what to do with you. Like, do we understand that? So it's like, that's the part. You have so much power in the world. Imagine how much power you have in the world to make a YouTuber double think the way she shows up. If only you would use that towards politicians. If only we would use that towards politicians. Do you know what I'm saying? But in order for it to work against the politician would have to care about what you think. So please take note that I care about what you think, because I'm trying to actually make this community space work. Even if at the end of the day, I have no control over who watches me and who writes in my comment sections. And I could block everybody, but I'm not going to make a living if I do that. Remember, no ethical consumption under capitalism. If I keep blocking everybody, I'm not going to make a living. Because remember, I work for free in hopes to get paid. Right? So I understand that my job is at risk in the sense that I have to, whether I like it or not, have a couple haters in the chat. Because if we didn't, Destiny wouldn't have an audience. Hassan wouldn't have an audience. None of us would have an audience. The fact is, the people who make us money are mostly haters. That's mostly who pays our bills. Because haters have all the time in the world to be on your shit. The good people in our audience, you guys are busy. You have literal lives. You know what I'm saying? Like, truly authentic people that are busy living their best lives, they're here and then they're gone. They're in the stream and they're out the stream. Haters, they pay your bills. I can't even explain it to you. At least 40% are haters. You know? And that's the part that we all have to contend with. That's the weirdest part of every job that deals with audiences, is like, especially buying a book. Like, if you sell a book, who's the person who's going to make it the most viral? Fox News. The haters. That's why Fox News are professional haters, bros. It pays the bills. Being a hater pays the bills. And I'm trying so hard not to be a hater. And I'm also, guys, can I just, to wrap up this segment, I would love, and I mean this with every fiber of my being, I would love to talk to serious YouTubers, serious streamers, serious philosophers who talk about ethics. I would love to have serious conversations about rights and wrongs. Notice that when I have a guest on, I mean this respectfully, I'll say, what do you think about that? And they'll say, oh, not much. I'll say, do you have any thoughts on that? And they'll say, not really. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay. Like, I need to figure out how to collab with people that are going to say, yes, I do have a thought on that, actually. And then we can, you know what I'm saying? I respectfully, to everybody who makes content, they're not doing what I'm doing. So what, and that's not their fault, right? It's not their fault that we're all on the left, but we're not doing the same thing. Okay. I would love to have conversations with philosophers, but then here's the other part of it that's hard. Are you ready for this? Am I allowed to collaborate with men who collaborate with predators? Because I've been thinking about the ethics of this. All the philosophy bros that I like all hang out with the bad people. They all hang out with the bad people. What am I supposed to do here? And then all the women in this space, they either don't respond to emails or they say they're too busy. So what do I do here? You know what I mean? What am I going to do? I did email some of these ladies and they responded with, oh, I'm too busy right now. I'm not available. Or they didn't respond at all. Okay, what am I supposed to do with that? You know? So when we have these conversations, okay, I'm not saying that people should, but I'm getting you to understand I'm eager to collab. But whether or not these people can, or whether or not these people are going to respond to my email, or whether or not they even saw my email, they might not have seen it. Or maybe they saw it and said, you know, I really don't want to collab right now, right? I'm more than open. So, which is why I'm thinking about taking Discord call-ins, maybe, because I'm not trying to avoid conversation. I'm just trying not to collaborate with bad people. I'm trying not to uplift people who platform bad people. It's very hard. Everybody's out here just collaborating, posting videos with them with like literally predator. Like, what am I supposed to do here? Okay. So again, with peace and love. Okay. when we have these conversations, I would love, it's just a matter of figuring out who's the right person to talk to. Okay. And not just to collab for collab's sake, but to really enjoy someone's brain and say, I'd love to discuss this topic with you. To really say, hey, I saw you say something and I'd love to talk to you about it. Not to collab just to collab, you know? That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to just like get, you know, because collabing just to collab, that's money making attitude. That's capitalism. The collab to collab, that's the point of that is money. I don't want to do that. Okay. I want to collab because I'm like, hey, I want to pick your brain about this. And maybe one day we'll get there. So like, know that that is my goal. Know that my ultimate goal with this is to eventually have people I could say, hey, I'd love to pick your brain about this topic. I know that's like your special interest. I know that's a thing you really like. I know you have something to teach me. Can you come on the show and talk to us about it? Okay? Right? Stay tuned.